Today's video is about David Fincher movies following our Christopher Nolan ranking. We'll be talking about different directors, and this month we're talking about David Fincher. He's got some stinkers and he's got some pretty good movies. So
No, he's the only director I would say has not made a bad movie.
That is so wrong. At number 11, we have his most recent project. We have Mank. It is very boring and it feels very Oscar baity. It's black and white. They're all like thinking and stuff, and it's about old Hollywood. It's about the creation of Citizen Kane, I think.
Isn't Commissioner Gordon in this?
He is. He plays Mank. And Amanda Seyfried or something.
I have not seen this one, by the way. So I'm trusting Jack's opinion here.
Yeah, it was really boring. Came out Christmas 2020, I think, and I was... That was like perfectly timed with my snore. That was crazy. At number 10, we have most people's last place, Alien 3. I don't like any of the Alien movies that much.
But you like this one the most?
This is my favorite Alien movie. No, this one's pretty boring. It like kills off like the main character, well, not the main characters, but like important characters off screen, you know? And so people like are mad about that. And it's kind of dark and like really like dingy, and it's like not fun to watch.
How do you think a man that made 7 could make this, Jack?
This was his first feature, so you know, everyone has a misstep along the way. At number 9, The Game. This one's an unpopular opinion. People say they enjoy this movie a lot, or decently so. I say stinker of a movie.
Say Let 'Em Burn?
Let 'Em Burn. This movie starts pretty good, gets worse over time, relatively boring, and has the worst twist of any movie I've ever seen ever. I despise the twist in this movie and the reveal. I despise this movie. I never want to watch Ant-Man's dad again on screen. Michael Sean Penn.
He's not Ant-Man's dad.
Yeah,
He's a father figure.
Ant-Woman's dad.
The Wasp?
At number 8. At number 8, I have sorry. You love this movie. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. John wanted to rank this number 1, so I told him no. I think this
is actually, if you guys looked at my letterbox ever, this is my favorite movie of all time.
But somehow I managed to get it down to 8 for him. Yeah,
that was a joke, just to preface.
I don't know. It's well made. It feels very Fincher, early 2010s, the way it's shot. And you know, he's an experienced director, John. He's not gonna make a bad movie. I think at this point in the list, I enjoy every movie a good bit, and I enjoy this movie a good bit. I remember watching this vivid memory though. The opening title sequence was so fucking cool. I forgot it was like some sort of, it just looked really cool. And I remember thinking, is this going to be one of those movies where the whole movie is worse than the opening title sequence? And for some reason, I remembered that when I said it in my mind, and when the movie finished, I thought, yeah, it was. It didn't live up. And I still think about that. That was like 2 or 3 years ago that I thought about that. So that's how you know this movie was totally okay. I heard this was a worse remake. This was a remake of like a Swedish film. So go Sweden. That's what I say. Number 7, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
My boy Brad is back here again.
Yeah, this movie is it's strange for sure. And it's long. It feels like a really demented Forrest Gump.
Would you feel weird being an old man attracted to like a 3-year-old pretty much?
Well, that would be the reality anyway, so...
Yeah.
That is the reality.
Yeah, that's what it's sure going to be, you mean?
No. It would be be strange, but I guess you wouldn't know.
But it's like he's mentally like...
Yeah. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know any better. Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely a little long, but I had no really problems with the pacing. And, Brad Pitt does well here. And there's some creepy stuff just of the nature of the film and whatnot. But generally, it's sad when it needs to be. And it's, happy when it needs to be. It's well made. Again, you're at an era where Fincher is an accomplished director, and anything he makes is pretty good. But it doesn't nearly rank up to some of the other work higher up on this list. At number 6, we have Panic Room. This one's cool because it all takes place in one house. It's kind of that one location type of movie. And you got Jodie Foster giving a pretty good performance. You have a young Kristen Stewart, like 13 or whatever, giving a good performance. You got tension, John. You got stakes. You got good moments, good pace, well-made movie. It's just one of those where it's like, It's just like a tiny little movie. It's not trying to do anything spectacular. It's not trying to be the next Fight Club. In fact, I think it was the movie he released after Fight Club. And so I think it's an intentional choice. It's not overly ambitious, and it very much succeeds in what it's trying to do. But because it's not trying to do something incredible, it isn't quite to the standard of these next movies.
Or maybe he got scared after his Fight Club was called misogynist, and the ending was spoiled on live television.
I'd kill myself. I'd make Panic Room.
You'd make
Panic Room? In that situation.
Yeah, that's probably why he did it.
This is the exact movie I'd make. At number 5, we have a mid-40s mom dream adaptation.
Every mid-40s mom saw this.
Everyone. Gone Girl.
Or I think probably, in all honesty, any girl 16 and over probably saw this.
This movie, it really encapsulates the early 2000s to me. Like, it feels like that time. The blue tones. I went into this movie very excited. I was so excited to watch this when I saw it. I heard the twist was like the best twist ever. And the movie came and the movie went, and I thought that was
what?
Yep. Well, it did a couple times, I think. And in that time, I thought, okay.
Poor Neil Patrick Harris, though.
Yeah, he got done dirty.
They did get done dirty.
It's just, I don't know. I like it a lot. I don't mean to undermine my appreciation for it, but it's just kind of that thing where it's like,
Jack, would you say Ben Affleck is the good guy of this movie?
Yes, he tries his best to...
Even though we learn how shitty of a person he is?
Okay, but like, does he do what she did?
That is a good point.
They're both bad people, I think is kind of what you're supposed to get from this. John, you're the reason why Fight Club was received so poorly. Number 4, The Social Network. This one, when I got into film in the 20s, the 2020, the year of 2020, late 2019, John, I heard this everywhere. Every person that I trusted their opinion, I heard this was the best movie ever made. To me, The Social Network represents the film bro movie. It's up there with Wolf of Wall Street. And so again, unfortunately for David Fincher's work here, I went into this movie similarly to Gone Girl, expecting a lot. Except this time, I was very much pleased, but it wasn't like a life-changing movie.
It gave you what was advertised. It didn't give you anything extra.
Right. It gave me snappy dialogue, great performances, fascinating story.
Love Andrew Garfield.
Also quite ballsy considering that like this wasn't far out from Facebook's like creation. Mm-hmm. This is like criticizing like, I don't know, who's someone that did something recently? I don't know, Elon Musk.
Mark Zuckerberg and Elon are supposed to fight.
I know, it's like coming full circle here. So yeah, I mean generally it was like, it's a really, really good movie. And maybe I'd like it more on rewatch. You got the scene where he's like, Mark, and he throws the keyboard and you're like, I know that. I've seen that.
Every person like fucking remakes.
Right. And but at the end of the day, maybe it's just because even at that time, they didn't really realize the consequences of Facebook. It feels like kind of a strange movie in that way where it just, it's telling the story, but there isn't a stark conclusion. It's just like, well, he lost most of his friends, but he's doing pretty well financially. At number 3, we're in the top 3. This is the upper echelon of films ever made, in my opinion. All 3 of these, I'd say, are my favorite movies ever made.
Are they in your top 50 each?
Yeah, I think all of them. Except maybe this one, but it's in top 100 for sure. Number 3, Zodiac. I mean, I came out of it a little bit uneasy. Because I thought it was a bit strange that each act kind of had a different main character. You switch between Mr. Iron Man, Mr. Hulk, and Mysterio. Boom, boom, boom. But the more I thought about it, the more I really fell in love with this movie. I love the structure. That scene in the basement is one of the best scenes of any movie I've ever seen ever. The tension was insane. It's just a really well-crafted movie. And the Zodiac killings are one of the most interesting things to ever happen in history. I'm really fascinated by them.
See, I don't know if Jack happens to remember this, but we did this. I don't know if the video is still up.
No.
But we did a video about this.
You know what it is?
What?
The Zodiac video?
Yeah.
That really old one? Go check it out if you haven't. That would be a treat for some people.
I don't know if it's still up.
It is.
Yeah. But if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, this was like 2 years ago. You were not the biggest. You were a fan, but you weren't the biggest fan when we reviewed this movie.
I had 2 problems, but they were big.
Wait, can I guess one of them?
Yeah. Well, I just said one of them, but you can guess the other one.
well,
Or both of them. I don't know.
was it the text after the ending?
I was just going to say.
I knew it would
It was
be.
the switching protagonists, and then it ends the movie by just typing out the ending.
I remember you told me you hate when
I
any
hate when
movie
movies
does
do
that.
that. I hate, and I was just gonna say that, but I was like, we're at number 3. Why am I criticizing so much? Because I didn't even criticize these other movies this much. But I did. Like, the weird thing is, yeah, Zodiac. I had like a handful of very tangible problems with, but the more I thought about it, and maybe it's the subject matter. If
No,
a movie,
you've just grown as a person, Jack.
I don't know.
2 years.
Who knows? Maybe if I rewatch this, I'd be like, fuck, this movie's lower. But I don't know. Like, in my mind, this movie rests really well, and it's really well made, and the whole vibe is spectacular. And that's what I like about Fincher's movies so much. They exemplify a very specific vibe. I don't really know how to describe it because I hate using the word just so generally, but it's a vibe, you know? Like, Tarantino movies have a vibe. Fincher's movies have like a late fall, late night kind of soggy day vibe that's like really cool. And whereas it doesn't work so well in certain movies, in a movie like Zodiac, it's exactly what the movie needs, and for that, makes me love it. And it's a movie that aged really well for me.
No, I love Zodiac. It's a really good movie.
Yeah. So, for most of our recent lists that we do, we combine our opinions. We make sacrifices for each other like a happy married couple. But like any happy marriage, certain sacrifices cannot be made, and I will not budge on my number 1, and John will not budge on his number 1. So for that, we have different number 1s and number 2s, but they are the same movie. I think most people can generally agree that these are the 2 best Fincher movies. Letterboxd does. It's a general opinion.
You know how like some days you wake up liking one movie more over the other, and then like the next day sometimes you like
no.
It's never happened to you?
No. Movies age, but I think that, well, here's the thing. Like, my top 50 is pretty arbitrary. If you like, that isn't like any sort of gospel. Like, when you look at my Letterboxd top 100, it's pretty arbitrary. It's like, these are in some order my top favorite.
We haven't even said it. So Jack's number 1. Well, we'll say he's number 2.
Well, yeah, why not? Well, because we know which. You just might as well say our number 2s.
His number 2 is Fight Club. Mine is 7.
And his number 1
is Fight Club.
Mine's 7. I guess we'll just talk about them. So we could start with 7, I guess. 7 to me is, I just redid my top 100 or top 100 on my Letterboxd. I think it ranked even higher this time. I think 7, on top of just being a movie that like is just like well made for me. It's like a movie that just is perfectly fit for the type of movie I enjoy. It also is a movie that I can think about it in an emotional connection sense, and also in a sense it's like that is an expertly crafted movie in every single way. The themes, the filmmaking itself, from the acting, the performances, I mean, especially that final scene, the cinematography is breathtaking in certain scenes, or the whole movie really, but a certain set of scenes is breathtaking. The general, the plot itself is like, it should be super basic, and the entire third act with how these reveals unfold is so perfect to me. I mean, I just generally think that I think it's more perfectly made than some movies that I'd rank higher above it in my top 50. So that's why I have it at my number 1.
See, these movies for me do 2 very different things. All right.
See, that's what's weird. They don't do 2 very different things. That's why I think they're so awfully linked together in his filmography, because Brad Pitt, and just they're kind of similarly made movies. Like, they're both really well crafted. Everything I could say about 7, I say about Fight Club. Just dial it back 1. If we're talking an amplifier, John, Fight Club's on 10, but 7 found a special amp and it's on 11. You know what I mean?
See, they do, for me at least, like personally, while I'm watching them, they do 2 very different things for me. I would say emotionally, let's say, right? Yes, while the ending of Fight Club is very emotional, right? And not Fight Club, of 7 is very emotional. Stakes are high. Everything's going on. It's a brilliantly crafted movie, right?
What's in the box? And then it's like, what's in the box?
I will say this. I have seen that scene everywhere before that. And maybe it's also this. I watched Seven for the first time probably when I was like 6 years old. And I remember because my mom is actually a big fan of Seven. It's one of her favorite movies.
That's why. If you guys didn't know this, his mom actually likes me more than him.
Oh yeah.
But that's a whole separate issue.
So I watched it when I was a kid. So I already knew the ending when we rewatched it for the podcast. And I think part of that, I knew what was coming. I didn't get to enjoy it as much. Whereas Fight Club, I actually had not seen anything for Fight Club. So
but you can't tell me to know the twist, right?
Enjoy it more. I actually did not. I did
There's
not know the twist.
No, pause.
I'm being dead serious.
Take down the fucking video shit. You're telling me you didn't know about that. That is like the most famous twist ever. What?
I didn't know about the twist. I don't know how, but somehow I avoided it.
You didn't know that Brad Pitt and...
No, I did not.
What?
I assumed it while I was watching the movie, but...
Well, that's because you've heard of it.
No, I didn't.
So you know it or not, you've heard of it.
I think when we watched it, I was actually surprised when it all happened.
You lucky fucking bastard. That's crazy. That is insane. Goddamn.
So whereas you knew the ending of Fight Club and everything,
I didn't know the ending. I just knew they were the same people. And in fact, to credit the filmmaking, I knew that twist, and I still was it still shocked me the way that it played out and everything. The twist. It almost made it more enjoyable. I guess I would never know because I did not know the twist. But to me, the questions of how this is working, also because I just kind of generally knew it, I didn't know the details. It was just interesting.
I will say this though, Fight Club's the whole idea of Fight Club's cool, but it is kind of in the end doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know the ending.
With the whole financial safety thing because they blow up all the banks and everything.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think Seven. I really could not understand how you can criticize Seven. I
can't criticize either of them though.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I can see criticisms towards Fight Club, even though, again, this is top 25 material all time for me. But Seven, I could see you not rating it 5-star because it personally doesn't hit to you. But I can't see a flaw with the movie.
No, I don't have any flaws with it either. No, I honestly also.
But I also just connect with it more.
Probably depending on certain times of the year, Seven might be higher than Fight Club for me. It really, I think, just depends on
when the leaves start falling
vibe
down
of the day. Yeah, no. I mean, just different.
It's a fall movie.
I have very different vibes on very different days. Some days I want to watch the most depressing movie you could imagine, and some days I want to watch a comedy.
Tonight, we're unfortunately, we were watching a really sad one, Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
That one's gonna suck to watch. But yeah, okay. Well, we love the movies, and we don't like some of them. But tell us your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at reboredpodcast. And thank you for watching. Goodbye. Hit him.
Goodbye.
Hit him.
Goodbye.